Okay, Greg. Come on, Greg. I know it was your birthday the other day, but give me a break. You show up at 8:59, and I'm sitting there and I'm getting very nervous. So, good morning. Holy mackerel! It's amazing when I open up the chat room and Greg is not there. I'm saying, okay, something's wrong. Let's go check the computer. Let's go find out what happened to everybody. Today nobody will show up. I'm going to do a solo podcast, all because Greg is not sitting on top of the chat room. It's unbelievable how I rely on that gentleman so very much, just for psychological purposes. And welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, second time, and you still can't figure it out after the 100th time. Let me tell you, when I say welcome aboard, that means it's 9 o'clock. That's right, 9 o'clock. It could be any time. It could be, if you see me walking down the street yelling, welcome aboard, check your watches. It'll be 9 o'clock somewhere. Okay, you got that? So that's what that means. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to Greg and to Dale and to DK Lush and to Doug Boyle, who you hear on Saturdays, and Ray Kay and Timothy My Hooker. The Traveler is here, the White Sox Gal, the Unholy Toledo, and away we go. And, of course, Andrea getting ready to come on board, and I'm just checking out the sound and the whole thing. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. We got about 3 weeks to go. We got a couple of weeks to go for pitchers and catchers, and that means only one thing. We have 3 weeks left of Yasiel Puig. Where's he going? Thank you, Traveler. We got 3 weeks of Yasiel Puig talk. Anybody ready for that? He's the only one left, the last man standing, unless you want to talk about Francisco Lindor being traded to a million different places. Will Arenado be traded? I mean, will Chris Bryant be traded? Will Mookie Betts be traded? I mean, come on, this will be, every day you'll hear about Lindor, Arenado, Bryant, and Betts, and every day you'll hear about Yasiel Puig. I haven't heard about Yasiel Puig. That's one of Andrew's favorite players. Andy, come on, tell us what's going on with Yasiel Puig. Okay, it's going to be the topic of discussion, and you got to love the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, what the hell, man? Just think about what this team has done. They got rid of A.J. Pollock, one of their stars. They got rid of Goldschmidt. They got rid of Greinke. They got rid of Corbin, but they didn't get rid of Chris Gallo, who just joined us. Good morning to Chris. Mal Pal is here. Good morning to the great Mal Pal, who I spoke to on the telephone yesterday. Remember that, kids? There's a thing called the telephone. And Andy has the draft results from the other night. So we had a night, I don't know what night this was, okay? But anyway, she has draft results, so you want to take a look and see how you did. Of course, in order to be happy about the results, you got to have joined the league. So that's one of the things you got to do, join the league. Phil Chaplin, who is still rocking and rolling over the fact that we talked about the Pittsburgh Pirates. So good morning, Phil. Okay, so if anybody has anything to say about Yasiel Puig, let's hear it now, okay? Let's hear it. So here you go. And Phil joining the chat room just reminded me. I mean, you got Mike Trout making about $37 million by himself this year. The Pittsburgh Pirates' current payroll is now $43 million and change. So let's just talk about that again there, Philly Chaplin, the Pirate fan. Trout making 37 plus. Pirates in total are at 43. That's the problem with Major League Baseball. It's come on. I know you want to build. Do it like the Arizona team did. They traded Corbin and Greinke and Goldschmidt and Pollock, and they're now the favorites, one of the top favorites to win their division. So come on, man. And if you really want to take a look at it in another way, this is really, if you took Mike Trout, Garrett Cole, and Max Scherzer, who have the highest salaries in 2020, And if you combine their salaries, it's about $109 million. So you take the $109 million, and if the Pirates added all of that to their payroll, they would still rank outside the top 10 in payroll in 2020. Trout, Cole, Scherzer. Take their payroll combined, add it to the Pirates' payroll now, and they would still rank outside the top 10 in payroll in 2020. So there you go. So now you got some action. You got some action in the Central Division of the National League. That should be pretty cool. You got action in the National League West. That's pretty cool. And the whole thing is pretty cool. Okay. The whole thing is absolutely pretty cool. Now let's take a look at what's going on. The Arizona Diamondbacks landed the center fielder that they had been looking for the past 2 seasons, and they get Starlin Marte from the Pirates for a pair of prospects. We talked about Marte the other day, 31. Gives him a proven bat. He's, they call him a solid defender, but he ranked 29th in some defensive metrics. Okay. That means that Ketel Marte is going to go back to second base where could have an easier time staying healthy, bull-dinky and poppycock. He's also going to play some center as Marte is going to be moved around the lefty-righty thing out there. So Marte, he hit .295. He had a career-high 23 homers, just under 600 plate appearances. And 2 years remaining on his contract, okay? 2 years, and they think, look, he's a fantastic ball player. And, of course, in exchange, the Diamondbacks, who have a good, in addition to having a good team, the Diamondbacks also have a pretty good farm system. So they parted with highly regarded 19-year-old prospects, Leover Pegura and right-hander Brendan Malone, and he's the key. And they also got some international bonus money. Pegura ranks 7th in the Diamondback system, according to Baseball America. He's an athletic shortstop. He drew comparisons to Gene Segura. Malone was the 33 overall pick in last year's draft, is a projectable starting pitcher, mid-90s fastball. He's got 4 pitches that he's working on. And the Mets had a chance to get him. So these are 2 of the top 30 prospects that went. But they asked the Mets for, just to show you the difference in the farm system, they asked the Mets for 2 of their top 10. So the Marte acquisition makes the Diamondbacks lineup a mix of players. Ketel Marte, Starling Marte second, Eduardo Escobar at third base third, maybe Jake Lamb, David Peralta in left, Christian Walker at first, Cole Calhoun in right, Carson Kelly the catcher, Nick Ahmad the shortstop. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. And Jake Lamb I'm missing. So Jake Lamb. Marte won a pair of Golden Gloves for his work in left field, but he hasn't been a finalist since taking over center field full-time in 2018. He's, look, he's got some good metrics, he's got some bad metrics, but still, he's averaged 41 stolen bases a year for 162 games since the start of the 2013 season. And Arizona's been looking for a center fielder since they let go A.J. Pollock. Marte, not the center fielder that they wanted. And in addition, so now the Diamondbacks are at around $120 million. When the Pirates, as they pick up $1.5 million of Marte's salary for 2020. Actually, the Pirates are doing that. So there you go. Marte ranks very high in sprint speed and the whole thing. So we all know about that. The thing about Pegura, he's just had a brief time in rookie ball, but he's been classified as an exciting player. But he's got a chance to be a total bust as well. Brandon Malone has a very high ceiling, got a big fastball, and so on down the line. Okay, so the Pirates now unsettled about their opening day center fielder. They've always had Marte out there. Opening day center fielder. And it looks to me that, I remember Nate McLeod, remember he started 2008, 2009. Andrew McCutcheon was somebody that they counted on out there. Marte took over in 2017. He moved from left field when McCutcheon was moved over to right field. Just want to say hello to everybody in the chat room once again. Thank you all. Arnie has joined us. Good morning to Arnie. Nice to have Arnie here. The Donkey Okie is here. Great to see Donkey Okie back in the chat room. Jeremy Bass is here. George has joined us and cast of thousands. So the Golden Gloves. Okay. So who loves Ketel? Donkey Okie likes Ketel Marte this year. He'll be playing some center field also. So they'll juggle it around based upon lefty-righty stuff. And so who's going to play center field? Who's going to play center field? Well, let's take a look. Jared Dyson's still on the market. Billy Hamilton is still on the market. But Cameron Maybin and Kevin Pillar makes the most sense because he played for Toronto while Cherington, the general manager, worked for the Blue Jays front office. Pillar spent his entire 7-year career with the Blue Jays until he was traded to the Giants 5 games into last season. Dyson and Hamilton, they got the speed, but they're below average hitters. Maybin is 32. Cameron Maybin, one of my boys. But if the Padres really wind up developing players, Brian Reynolds would be the most likely choice to play center field. He started 25 games in center as a rookie last year. Also made 68 starts in left field, 29 in right. And basically that's how it goes. So the Pirates unsettled about center field, but nonetheless they will have a center field there. And what does this mean for the New York Mets? As a Met fan, the Met fans, oh, this is just awful. Where's the Amazons when you need them in the chat room? The Met fans really thought they had Marte. So what does that mean? Would you rather have Starling Marte or would you rather have Brandon Nimmo? Okay, because Marte was strong on the Mets' radar at the winter meetings. But when they had discussions with the Pirates, they just lost their momentum. And they had discussed a deal that would have included Brandon Nimmo. The Mets backed off because they didn't believe they would receive equal value for Nimmo, a first-year arbitration-eligible player earning only $2.1 million this season. The 31-year-old Marte is going to earn $11 million, 11.5. Okay, so the money had a big part in it, but of course the Mets targeted Marte as someone who would bring in a right-handed bat with power, center field. So the Mets look like they're headed to spring training with an outfield of Nimmo, Conforto, J.D. Davis, Jake Marisnick, Dominic Smith, and Yoenis Cespedes, who's still running and swinging and hitting, but he's not playing baseball yet. I don't know what he's doing. Sending out pictures of him hitting and running and throwing and pitching, and yet he says he's not ready for baseball. I mean, give me a freaking break, will you please? You send out those kind of videos, and then you say you're not ready to play baseball? What are you doing then? Play all-star baseball. Play Stratomatic then. Marisnick, he's going to have a nice time in that. You think Marisnick is going to get booed by the Met fans when he comes up to bat? One of the guys without the sign. He arrived late, okay, right-handed bat. It's likely that Jake Marisnick will get a chance to play against most lefties, and it'll be a late-inning defensive replacement. The wild card is Cespedes. Wild card. Imagine this season being free agents and wild boars. That's what we're talking about. And San Francisco was also a team that was talked about. We couldn't figure this one out at all. The Giants have failed to sign a marquee free agent. I can't remember the last time they did, but they were after Castellanos for sure. And now with Castellanos heading into the National League Central, I'll tell you what, Yasiel Puig, now the top player. It's unbelievable. And we thought that, we think that San Francisco is going to be the landing spot for Yasiel Puig. Fernand Zaidi has a history with Puig, who spent his first 6 years in L.A. All right, so after missing on Castellanos,